You probably recognize this face. That's because it's Michelle Obama, and in 2018, the African-American First Lady was painted by the artist opposite her, Amy Sherald. She produced this bold painting that captured Michelle Obama's style, essence, and a love for American culture in one painting. With one painting, Amy Sherald went from waiting tables to becoming one of the world's most acclaimed artists today. This not only signified a first for Amy Sherald's career, but a first for America on the world stage. What is it that made Michelle Obama pick her? Why is she grey in the painting? And why should you pay attention to her work? Let's dive into the story and art of Amy Sherald. But first, we need to understand why these portraits are so important to American history and culture. Presidential portraits are more than just artwork. They are symbols of their era, embodying the ethos and values of a nation during the president's time in office. The leaders are immortalized through these paintings, becoming a part of national heritage and possibly serving as an inspiration to future generations, depending on the president. These have been a tradition for centuries, starting with George Washington with the famous Lansdowne portrait by Gilbert Stuart in 1796. Over the years, these portraits have evolved, reflecting not just the president's image, but also the artistic trends and cultural context of their times. We can see this with Abraham Lincoln by George Healey in 1869. This portrait, created after his death, reflects the somber mood of a nation recovering from the Civil War. Healey's realistic style captured Lincoln's thoughtful mood, emphasizing his role as a leader. Simi Knox's portrait of Hillary Clinton really captures the feel of a time when everything was changing. There were huge differences at every turn. The Cold War was ending and the internet was beginning, for example. And here comes Hillary Clinton, the First Lady. She looks right at us, calm and collected. She stands strong, perhaps with a sense of intelligence and determination. And you could say this portrait really highlights her efforts in healthcare and women's rights, showing how impactful she was at the time. We also had John F. Kennedy's portraits by Elaine de Kooning in 1963. This portrait stepped away from tradition with its expressionist style, reflecting the exciting and youthful energy that Kennedy brought to the presidency. De Kooning's use of expressionism captured the way everyone felt about him at the time. He was charismatic and brought about a new energy with him. A time when the Beatles and Bob Dylan were the biggest names, and the Monterey Pop Festival was a place everyone wanted to be. Now let's talk about Amy Sherald's portrait of Michelle Obama. This also took a step away from traditional portraiture. Amy Sherald has a very unique and recognizable style. Her subjects are always in grayscale. It's also quite interesting that the first Black Lady of America in this portrait has had her color removed. In a way, she's removed the first thing on everyone's mind about Michelle Obama, her skin color, allowing you to focus more on her essence. She portrays Michelle Obama in a relaxed pose, sat down, and she seems to be smiling with a thoughtful expression and vibrant dress. This portrait is not just a representation of the former First Lady, but a powerful statement on contemporary art and the role of women and American artists in modern America. Compared to classic presidential portraits which often emphasize grandeur and authority, Sherald's work focuses on the essence and personality. It's a celebration of her individuality and the modern American woman. But Amy Sherald wasn't born an artist. She started off in Columbus, Georgia, born to her mother, Geraldine Sherald, and her dad, a dentist. Her earliest inspirations coming from her auntie, who was an artist in her young age. She followed this passion, earning a BA in painting from Clark Atlanta University and later a master's from the Maryland Institute College of Art. Like many other black artists of her time, like Kara Walker for example, she grew up in an era where she felt like the odd one out because of her skin color. And her journey wasn't without challenges. In 2012, Sherald faced a life-threatening health crisis, which she discovered while training for a triathlon. She needed a heart transplant, which profoundly impacted her perspective and her work. Despite this, she remained passionate enough to pursue painting of without much recognition until the age of 38, while she was still waiting tables to support herself. In that same year, she created Welfare Queen. The term welfare queen is a stereotype of a black American woman who is cheating the system to gain more wealth than they are designated. However, in the painting, Amy has flipped the typical image of such a person by depicting them as regal and elegant. The eye contact is direct and forcing you to connect with the person and look beyond the stereotypical label. Her first big break was one of her most notable works, Miss Everything, Unsuppressed Deliverance, which won her the Outwin Bouchever Portrait competition in 2016. This piece showcases her signature style, grayscale skin tones contrasted with vibrant colours, which challenged the viewer's perception of race and identity. And this would have been what got her on the radar of Michelle Obama. In that same year, she also painted Mother and Child, which features, again, her distinctive grayscale skin tone and a black mum and her child on her hip. In this painting, it's the mother looking directly at us, and she's the only one Amy wants us to focus on. And it could be a reference to the Madonna and Child Renaissance painting, reimagined for an African American family. Another significant work was It Made Sense, Mostly in Her Mind. The painting has a woman dressed as a jockey with a unicorn on a stick. Black jockeys are definitely not something you see that often, and a unicorn on a stick adds comedic value to the painting. The unicorn could also be a comment on how rare black jockeys are in horse riding, and it's certainly not something you would see in fine art. Amy Sherald's journey and her compelling works before painting Michelle Obama portraits tell a story of resilience and a desire to paint black people in still life situations. Most of her paintings are of black people caught in everyday life, something you don't see in the rest of art history. Her ability to capture the essence of subjects while making bold statements about race and identity is what makes her stand out. And this is why Amy Sherald was perfect for the Michelle Obama portrait. Typically, Sherald's paintings are positioned at eye level, inviting direct engagement between the viewer and the subject. It's almost confrontational, and this placement fosters a personal connection, allowing the audience to delve deeper into the story each portrait tells. It allows you to really look into the eyes of the subject when viewing a painting. When I visited her show in London, I noticed that each piece really commanded their own space. Amy Sherald really wanted to show black people just living their life. And when I was in the gallery, I found that the lighting was soft, really just adding to that connection for you with each subject in the painting. But how does Amy Sherald choose her subjects for her paintings, and what does this tell us about the artist? Amy Sherald's approach to selecting subjects is deeply intentional and reflective of her artistic mission. Unlike traditional portrait artists who often focus on prominent figures or commissioned subjects, Sherald often chooses everyday people, individuals who might not typically find themselves immortalized in art galleries. And she doesn't accept commissions. Sherald normally chooses everyday people as the subjects he comes across in daily life. Kind of like Kende Wiley, and you could check out my video on his process down below. Sherald's subjects are often African Americans in her distinctive style of grey skin tones against vibrant backgrounds. The grayscale is done on purpose, aiming to challenge the viewer's perceptions of race and identity. By portraying ordinary people, Sherald elevates the stories, creating a space where they are seen, acknowledged, and celebrated. It challenges the idea of who is worthy of a portrait. In her process, Sherald often interacts with her subjects and is taking and directing the photography that she is going to later paint. This interaction is crucial for her process, and she seeks to understand the narratives and experiences of her subjects, which she then translates to the canvas. Amy Sherald was chosen by Michelle Obama to paint her official portrait. Michelle Obama wanted to be seen as relatable, and during her tenure, she had no interest in grandeur or feeling superior. She needed a painting that achieved this. This decision wasn't just about selecting an artist, it was about making a statement and celebrating a shared vision. And by the time Michelle Obama picked Sherald, her recognition in the art world was growing, especially after winning the Outwin Bucheva portrait competition. Sherald's choice to depict Michelle Obama in grayscale is in line with her style, challenging traditional perceptions of race and colour. In contrast with the vibrant, geometric pattern dress adds a dynamic visual element, symbolising the multifaceted nature of Michelle Obama's personality and her role as a modern, influential figure. It may also be a nod to black women's history with fabric art during slavery in America. These fabrics were used for storytelling, expressing their cultural heritage. Michelle Obama is seated against a blue background, which adds to a serene, almost ethereal quality to the portrait. Her pose is approachable and she seems to be relaxed. This invites the viewers to see beyond her public persona to the person beneath. This portrait is not just a likeness of Michelle Obama, it's a cultural statement. It reflects the changing landscape of American society, the evolving role of women, and particularly black women in America. By portraying the First Lady in this contemporary style, Sherald acknowledges and celebrates her impact on American culture and history. This was a big moment on the American world stage, one that definitely stood out, and the painting reflects this. But Amy Sherald wasn't the only artist to paint someone from the White House. In 2018, Kende Wiley painted Barack Obama, and you can watch my video in the top right to learn about it.